The lake we are fishing today is one of Central Europe's biggest lakes. It is ginormous. It is up to 250 meters deep, so enormous amounts of water, and it produces giant pike every year. So there's reports of 130 fish plus every year, which makes it so special, but it's a tough fishery. So it will be very interesting to see how we get to those giant pike and if we can actually make it. Welcome guys to a new video. We are on one of Europe's biggest lakes.
We want to catch some huge pikes with some new lures.
Yes.
Slowly, my frustration was building up, as foul strikes like these hurt extra bad if you know what monsters are living in these waters.
Day 2 went pretty much as my worst nightmare would go. So it's exactly the same as day 1. For day 3 we knew that we had to deliver, so we got up even earlier. We were at the boat, still in the dark.
Sometimes a single bite can make all the difference. And this is exactly that bite. What makes it so special? Well, let's start our journey from the beginning.
We just got the new samples of some very cool lures and some new rods a few days ago, so we will take them with us. So I'm very excited to see if they work, how they work, and if we can get some nice fish on them. So I would say less talking, more fishing. Let's go.
This was what my teammate Olli and I had worked out as our plan for the coming days, not knowing that what would lie ahead of us would turn out quite differently. The first day started off slow as we had to trailer the boat, set everything up and buy the fishing license. It wasn't until 11 AM when the first rod was set, which made my inner monk a bit uncomfortable, but sometimes you just gotta take it as it is.
Welcome guys to a new video. We are on one of Europe's biggest lakes and I'm here with Olli today from the German team, and we have a good plan today, right?
We do have. Let's say welcome, and we want to catch some huge pikes with some new lures.
Yes.
And it will be awesome.
And I mean, obviously if we go trolling with those huge lures in a very clear lake, I hope it's clear, actually it doesn't look that clear, but we will see. We have to use the Escape and the Explore Cam to get some cool underwater strikes, so I'm super excited. If this one, I really love this design, this natural brown trout. Could be perfect. There's a lot of lake trout in this lake, so yeah, they should feed on those type of lures. And let's see, that's the 30 centimeter one, and I might add a little switch weight to get it a bit deeper, especially with the cam. But yeah, let's see. We have a lot of time, so we should find a fish at some point. The thing with the fishery, at least for predator in our big alpine lakes, is that it's quite special because it's so deep. The lakes are so deep. As I said, this one is up to 250 meters deep. So the pike are only shallow during and after spawning. So they move up onto the weed beds where they spawn, and after that most of the big pike move into the pelagics. So they are living next to the bait fish or just generally in open water above the deep water. They are standing pelagic in between 2 and maybe 10, 15 meters. But it's very deep there, so there's only a very limited amount of things you can do to target them. And these are pretty much 3 types of methods. 1, you can cast for them in open water just blindly. This is something I describe as the holy grail because it's super difficult. You have to be super mentally strong, and the reward or the effort to reward ratio is let's say quite low. Then you can obviously go trolling, which is a standard technique to catch the big pike here in our lakes. And then there's the live scope fishing, which has gotten popular over the last few years, which is seen as controversial by some, loved by others, but that's that. It's quite easy to understand why that works the best of all these 3 methods. As we really don't want to stare at the screen for the next 3 days, we will focus on the trolling. And if we can work out areas that produce fish, produce bites, we will think about casting in those areas, open water casts, just go at it, hammer with the new lures, and see if we can get a fish this way, because that's the most rewarding way you can catch a pike in those lakes, in my personal opinion.
We took our time to bring out the 3 rods per person that we were planning on using, making sure that all the lures were running properly. The weather was nice, maybe a bit too nice for pike fishing, but the spirits on board were high. And it shouldn't take long for us to get the first action of the day. which was unfortunately only the side planner realizing that our new 40 cm Tommy Inline is quite a big lure. Olli fixed it back in place, and we kept on working our way along the edge. To our content, we found a lot of baitfish in this area, which is always a good sign. Disappointingly, the pike didn't seem to be too active and nothing happened. Or at least, nothing that we were aware of. So we decided to take a look underwater.
Okay, so I'm just running through the escape cam footage of one of my rods where I had the 30 cm brown trout colored Tommy the Trout in 30 centimeters, as I said, and I just saw after, that's like maybe like 50 minutes or so, we had a first follower. It's not very big, I have to say. I would say it's like 65, 70 maybe. It just came up and then slowly swam after it, and now I think it's about to turn away. But you can see it here. It's not the one we are after, but it would have been the first fish of the day. So it's quite cool that we have that on the camera. And I will keep on searching. If I find another one, I will let you know. Maybe it's a bigger one, but ideally we want to see it here in the boat and not on the camera. So let's keep on hammering them. Things have changed. We started off with no wind and quite nice weather with a bit of sun. It has turned to overcast and a lot of wind. It's a bit critical at the moment. I think we should be good for another few minutes. I hope it doesn't get stronger, the wind, then we should be really fine. I've changed away from the 30 centimeter bulties, just trying different stuff. We have not figured it out yet, the pattern. We've moved to a different spot, which is a ledge that is quite deep. So we have 30 meters to our right. It goes down to like 50 meters, and to our left there's a pretty shallow ledge, so a different kind of spot, and we just troll along it. We have 2 of the 40 centimeter trouts out, 2 of the 30 centimeter ones, and I think 1 or 2 with the lip. So we're just trying different kind of colors, different depth, and we just hope that we find them, because it's not the issue that we don't find the bait fish, it's more that the issue is that the pike is not so active at the moment, I think.
The feeling on the new spot was not so good, and as the wind and thus the waves got stronger and bigger, we returned to the stretch where we had seen all of the baitfish. And it was here where we had our first contact.
Okay guys, and it just happened. I switched to the 24 centimeter bulties just to try something that just perfectly fits the hatch here. So a bit of a smaller bait, and it took like 5 minutes and I got the bite. We are quite shallow, 13 meters of depth, and yeah, didn't take long. There's the bites there and there as well. Just saw the rod go whoop whoop. And how it often is on tough days, once you get the bite, it's a false strike. So it's a bit meh, but yeah, at least we got the first lure that is working. But yeah, let's see. Maybe the feeding window starts now, so that's good. The first day on a new part of the lake for me, you have been here a few times before, was quite hard, but I was quite okay with having a first day just to orient myself and to see where's the bait fish and everything. But you have some experience here, and you would say that our first day with one single foul strike was not really as you hoped it would be, right?
No, 100%. So we tried to get the right depth and the right lure, let's say it like this, with the type, whether the fish bite or the pikes at least. But yeah, we struggled a bit at the first day.
So the first day was quite tough, but we got some intel on where the bait fish is, and we got a feeling, so it was okay for a first day. All right, new morning, new luck. We're on the boat again, and yeah, we haven't said it yet, but yesterday in the evening we were quite broken, and when we got to the harbor, I quickly checked Olli's lure, and that made our evening, let's say, not anything nicer, but he will tell you.
Yes, we were a bit disappointed yesterday because we had 0 contacts. We thought about that, and we had 0 fish. That's bad, but at the end we had some triggers, or the side planner clipped out, and yeah, at least we had some fish. And this one, the bites are from there to there, so it wasn't a small one, not a huge one, but we will never know.
So I think to sum it up, we at least know that they are hitting those big lures, which is nice because we were already thinking about, oh, should we go smaller? What should we do? But yeah, we got the bite, and as Olli said, that was a really big fish, I think. So we will run 2 of the big ones, the 40 centimeter ones, 2 of the 30 centimeter ones, and then 2 wild cuts. So yeah, let's head out and then let's catch one today. Right, we arrived on the spot, and yesterday it was quite insightful because we were using the escape cam for almost all the day, mostly running 2 of them. You can already go. And yeah, we learned quite a bit of stuff. We had a few followers. We saw that a few lures are running a bit shallower than we expected. So we'll make some adjustments today, a bit of switch weights added and stuff like that. So yeah, very useful, especially for trolling. And I hope that today we get a big strike. I will go for gold and use the big 40 centimeter one with the cam, and Olli will choose something differently. Now I just have to decide which color to go for, but it's difficult. I don't know. So these will be the 2 ones I run today, and for the third rod, let's see, something different.
So okay, my lure to choose is the 30 centimeter trout in a bit of bright colors, just for the difference with normal lures or with normal colors and a bit of bright colors. And so yes, we are trying to catch a big one, like always.
Although the first day had left its marks in our ego, knowing that we did have 2 bites was enough to bring the hype back to the boat and go into day 2 with high hopes. The weather was also much more pike friendly, which didn't hurt. We started off in the area where we had the 2 bites the evening before and were met with more of the same.
One way we try to find the pike is that we vary the depth of our lures, because as I said, we are fishing a lake that is, I think the deepest point is 250 meters deep, and the pike lives pretty much, depending on the year, all across that big area of water. Obviously we don't fish for them in 100 meters of water in the depth, but we fish above 100 meters of water in like 3, 4, 5, 10 meters of depth. That's where they are. The colder the water gets, the deeper they go down. And it still is my theory that they come up for feeding. So we always have 1 or 2 or 3 shallow lures running. So let's say in a running depth of 1, 2, 3 meters. But now we also try to go down. And for this, we use a few different types of solutions. So either you let out a lot of line for the lure to go down, especially for example with the Tommy the Trout hybrid. The more line you give him, the deeper it goes to a certain level. But at some point, if you want to go deep, there's no other way than to use some weights, 30 gram, 50 gram, maybe even 100 gram, sometimes even more. And then we vary with the weight and with the amount of line we give, either behind the planter board or with this rod, I fish it straight behind the boat. And usually I go for, in this case, like 100 grams, then 2 meters of leader, and then our big swim bait in this case. And for now, I will let out about 30 meters of line, or I do it in a way because I don't have the multicolor line on here. I just count to 30, and it's not super important that you exactly have 30 meters of line out. It's just important that you can reproduce it. So if I get a strike now, I want to know that it was with 30 seconds counting, so I can reproduce that because I have found the depth where they are. And we have been doing that for the last 2 days. We have not found the right depth yet, but we have made some small tweaks. We brought some different lures as well, some smaller ones, some lures with a bit less action. Olli's also fishing the platypus in a new color, the 22 centimeter one. But yes, this is basically how we do it. We use weights, we use the length of our line to vary with the depth of the lures and see if the pike is somewhere there in between. Because as I said, there's a lot of water to cover, which doesn't make our project any easier, especially during cold times. Die schießen nicht drauf. Ja. Aber wahrscheinlich nur, weil wir Kurve gefahren sind.
Ja, der ist schon dran.
Ja, ausgelöst, würde ich sagen.
Slowly, my frustration was building up, as foul strikes like these hurt extra bad if you know what monsters are living in these waters. Unfortunately, it is not uncommon for the pike in our lakes to be magicians when it comes to hitting without sticking, so this was nothing unusual, yet nonetheless annoying. We reset the lures and I took the time to check the cam footage and found something super cool.
Just checking the escape cam, and we have something on there that is following the 40 centimeter inline trout, and if I'm honest, I think it's actually a big lake trout, or yeah, we call them lake trout in our area here. So a big brown trout that lives in the lake. It could also be a small catfish, but if it's a lake trout, it's a really big one. So it's like 60-70 centimeter, which is already quite a specimen. It's following for quite a while, but obviously it would be very surprising if it eats that bait, but cool to see. Yeah, I don't think it's a catfish, to be honest, but it's tough to tell because it's a bit far away. But yeah, some more action. So we just need someone to go, grab it and stick on it for a few seconds so we can set it.
The hours blew past, but the mood of the pike didn't change.
Day 2 went pretty much as my worst nightmare would go. So it's exactly the same as day 1. We thought we had a better idea. We also tried some new areas just so we don't focus too much on one area where we had 1 or 2 bites maybe, because that's just stupid and there's so much water. So you had some ideas where to go, and we tried that.
Yeah, but the ideas were not so good, at least.
Well,
so we tried a different area. We tried different water location. Let's do it like this. We had a small river coming into the lake, so we tried at least if the pikes are there.
Yeah.
But at the end of day 2, we could say it's same procedure as day 1.
Yeah, I had a foul strike very early in the morning, which I didn't even see. I just saw that the lure was bitten and was teared apart once I checked it on the 30 centimeter brown trout color, but that was pretty much it. We found a lot of baitfish all across the lake in almost the same depth, like between 15 and 30 meters, but there was not so much active pike there, which led us to quite a task for the next day, for our last day, to see how we can get some fish in the boat and ideally a big one. For day 3, we knew that we had to deliver, so we got up even earlier. We were at the boat, still in the dark, got everything set up, started going out at first light, and then we went to our spot where we wanted to start. We had a big plan in mind, and then we realized that the commercial fishermen had covered everything with nets, so we couldn't fish that area. So we kind of saw this as a sign of faith and had to change location anyways, and then you had a good idea.
Yeah, at least we were forced to go to another spot.
Yes.
And yeah, then we put our lure out, and yeah, the first strike didn't take long.
Oh, fish. Yeah, nice.
Here.
That's awesome. Which one? I will reel this one in.
No. Oh, yes.
Yeah, nice. I will leave that one. We'll get this one in quickly. Yes. Let's go. On the Tommy the inline.
Yes.
Awesome, man. Let's get this one in. Oh my God. I'm so hyped. Okay, get this one out of the way. Yes. How does it feel?
Good one.
Is it a huge one?
Huge. Not.
Oh my God. I was so happy when I saw the rod bend over. Yes.
Hopefully.
Let's see what it is. I mean, it's probably a pike. Let's see how big it is. I can't see him yet. Oh, there he is. Okay, he's not huge.
No.
He's really not huge, but at least it's a fish. Okay, he's really not huge. Hey! Well, at least it's a fish. I mean, it could be an 80.
Yes.
Have a look. Okay.
At least
Something.
the first fish.
Yeah, let's say 80 or something on the 30 centimeter. As I said, headlight deluxe. Pretty shallow, right?
Yeah, it was shallow, about 3.5 meters
Nice.
in 30 meters depth. So it's
Good start.
yeah, at least a start. A very let's say beautiful fish. After 2 days
Please
of trolling
don't
and without the fish, every fish is a beautiful one. So we are happy with that.
That was a nice fish, but obviously not exactly what we were hoping for, but at least on the new lure, which was cool. So after a few foul strikes, we got the first to stick properly. Very nice. Good fish, good way to start. And then we kept in that area, trolled some laps, different depths, 20 meters, 30 meters, 50 meters to see is there anything we are missing currently. Try different speeds as well, go a bit faster with the boat. And we spent a few hours there. Okay, so seeing that the sun has brought some energy to my body, I thought I'd quickly run through what lures we have in our range for trolling, at least which ones I use for our big alpine lakes. There's a few different running patterns that I distinguish between and that I choose for varying times of the year or for different types of lake also, to be honest. So there's the typical S-curve kind of inline lure, such as the Tommy the Trout or the Ricky the Roach inline, which, as I said, have the S-curve, which is very nice if you want to fish slowly or just in general if you have pike that are looking for an aggressive action. Sometimes for lakes for me, I prefer lures with a lower action, so that's in some lakes too much, but in different lakes, if they work super well. So I also distinguish between swim baits and I say normal rubber lures, such as the bull tees or the shanties, which are basically just a piece of rubber, nothing hyper realistic, nothing too special about them. But the whitefish, which is our main bait fish here, is in a small size, like 25 centimeters, very slender. I have some fins for sure, but the shanties 27, for example, is a great imitation. But it's also something where I try to vary. When it's cloudy, I like to fish a bit more shocking, and in conditions like this now, I will probably go for something more natural, like a headlight color. The Bull-Tees Curltail is another example. It's pretty much just a standard rubber lure, but the 33 centimeter version we have as an inline lure, so we have the benefit of the lure sliding up the leader if you have a fish on and not having the leverage. This is also something very nice if you want to have a different kind of action. With the twister tail, you can also fish it very slow, but also quite fast, and it just has a completely different action than the paddle tail. And we have a lot of burbot and also some eel in those lakes that we fish, so this is also a good imitation for that kind of fish, and the pike will feed on them for sure. So this is something I sometimes try. I don't fish twister tail that much. I most of the time prefer hammer tail, but there's some certain conditions and lakes where this kind of twister tail is the right choice. And then we obviously have the classic hybrid swim bait with the lip, in this case the Tommy the Trout, which has a more rolling action compared to the S-curve from its inline brother. And yeah, that's a typical trolling lure. You don't need to do anything with it. You basically just attach your snap, let out some line, and it will start running and it will start catching. And as you can see, it's a perfect imitation of a trout or also a whitefish, whatever. And with this one, especially as we have some lake trout in here, a small lake trout will definitely get eaten by a pike, and this one will obviously catch them in any lake where there's trout or similar shaped bait fish. Just to touch on the length real quick, we use 25 to 40 centimeters mainly, but I would say that around 30 centimeters is a standard length that we use for trolling here, where I feel the most comfortable with, because it's not too big, not too small, and I know that pretty much any pike will attack that kind of lure. One quick thing as I'm changing my lure right now is that I want to mention that I use the high-speed version of our, in this case W4, but also the W6 bait caster. This is the 300 size or 301 in this case because I'm left-hand reeling, but the high retrieve speed is very nice if you want to change your lures and have to reel in every once in a while quite a bit of distance. It makes life much easier, it goes much quicker, and that's why I recommend for trolling to get the high-speed version. And you can also see that I'm running the new W3 braid in the multicolor version. There's the Oceanic Swirl, which is very nice because it changes color every 10 meters. So you can very precisely see on how much line you put between the side planer and your lure, or how deep you put it or whatever. So it's very very neat, not only for sea fishing but also for pike trawling.
Yeah, at least we had a little bit of action. We had these cuts from the fish, and I had a bite few seconds ago with different cuts, so but at least we didn't get the fish. So anyway, let's bring the lures out and hope for the best.
Talking rods and reels for trolling, I already mentioned what I like to use for the reels. So our 301 size bait casting reels, be it the W4, the W6 or the new W6 heavy duty one, even though this one is more for casting because it has a low gearing. And as I said, I like the high gearing. The braid is a 0.30 millimeter W3 or W10 braid. Both work well for this kind of fishing. If I go for full trolling setup, I will use in the future always the multicolor line. For the rods, in theory, you could say it's not so important what rod you use for the trolling. It can be any, let's say, tougher pike rod, so 120 or more grams of casting weight, but there's some nuance to where I have some favorites, as they are the trolling series of ours, which has a very nice parabolic action. And this means that if you fish with planer boards, they don't get ripped out of the wave so much because the rod is compensating for the wave, and this also means that the line doesn't get ripped out of the clip so easy. So this is very nice. I use this one for trolling with the planer board and also without. So it's my go-to trolling rod. Another one which is also very nice is the Power Shed T in the 180 gram version, which has a quite soft tip. It has a bit more backbone as the trolling does, but it has the same effect when planer board fishing. So it's also quite soft in the tip, so it equals out the waves and makes your life quite a bit easier. So these are my two go-to trolling rods, so either the W2 or W3 trolling and the W3 Power Shed T up to 180 gram. Fish on! Let's go! Just in the turn. Okay, so it's a quite small pike, but feisty.
Fuck, doch reingewischt jetzt.
Not very big on the little joker bait, on the original perch. I wanted to try something smaller, as I said. So Olli had the strike like 20 minutes ago, and now this one. It's very small. I will quickly show it to you and then we keep on going. All right, so a good numbers fish, but not really what we are after, to be honest. About not half the size we need, but close to that, like maybe 70 and 60, but that's, yeah, as I said, a good numbers fish. Maybe they're in the feeding mood now and we can get a big one. So this one came deep, as I said, on the original perch, 18 centimeter, but I think we need to go big to get the big one now. So again, not the fish we were hoping for on my little joker lure, but yeah, at least another fish. But also the last one for this session. We had to go back to the harbor because we needed to keep the times for the boat ramp in check and needed to get out of the water. So we had to call it a day there. I would have loved to stay another few hours because today was the first day where we actually got some traction on the road. But we're at the point where we have two, let's be real, okay fish after 3 days, and I'm lost for words. I'm not really sure why that happened, but you have a bit more experience on this lake. What's your 3 cents on that?
Yeah, to be honest, we went 3 days through a lot of challenges with windy conditions,
yeah,
with no wind conditions, with very cold conditions. So we had everything, at least sunshine.
Today we had some sunshine, that
So-
was nice, yes.
That was good. But to be honest, 3 days of fishing at this lake and with the result of 2 pikes is not like we expected or like I expected. So we can't keep it like that. So we need
another go.
We need another.
Maybe we have a bit more luck with the all-around conditions, moon phase, air pressure, general weather. So let's give it another shot, I'd say.
As the both of us couldn't live with this result, we made some arrangements, cancelled some meetings, and met up at the lake again a week later. It was the new moon and weather conditions looked very promising. I had spent the days in between sleeping very bad and thinking a lot about what we could have done differently, and came up with some slight adjustments to my tactic. And these should prove successful just minutes into the new day.
So we have been fishing for exactly 5 minutes. We started early today. We are on our second try and we've been trolling for exactly 5 minutes, and I have made some small tweaks. I switched to the 20 centimeter trout inline, and this is what just got the bite behind some weight. So that's crazy. That happened super fast. I can't believe it. I don't think it's a huge fish, but we will see. Yeah, it's a good numbers fish. It's not a big fish, but hey, that went quick. I can net it myself. You can see it on. Yeah, there you go. Whoop. There we go, guys. I think another one of like 75, 80. So again, not our target size, but the first fish, and we have been trolling for exactly 8 minutes. So that is super cool. Yeah, I would say we keep on hammering them, because if there's a feeding window now, we should make the profit out of that. But good start, 20 centimeter in that headlight deluxe color, which brought the bites last time. So let's keep on going. All right, so let's set the scene. We are back on the lake 1 week after our last attempt. It was so bad and I was so sad that we said, okay, F it, we will go again. And as I said, I got up super early today. You already went here yesterday.
Yes.
Got the boat into the water. Thank you for that. And it was kind of worth it. Not a giant fish, but
at least a fish. So
at least a fish.
You guys see the previous stuff, and
Yes.
yes. So it's pretty much better than
90% of what happened in the last 3 days. So
let's summarize it like that. Yeah, that's true.
It's a good start because it is in an area where we also caught one last time, so that's a learning, and also on the little trick I did with going down in a bait size, so that's very nice. And yeah, there's some wind on the water, perfect conditions, so let's hope that we catch our goal of a big one in the next few hours.
Yes. Hopefully you have something to enjoy.
Things looked promising as the wind kept on blowing, and as we trolled a new area, I got another strike on the 30 centimeter inline Tommy. Unfortunately, it came off before I was able to get the rod into my hands, but the frustration should only last for about 5 minutes.
So we have hit a spot and a feeding window, which is nice. Now we should see him soon. Yeah, there. Again, same size, or maybe even a bit smaller than the other one. But a good numbers fish. All right, and there we have him. A bit smaller one. We're not getting bigger, we're getting smaller. But as you can see on the 20 centimeter inline again. And yeah, I would say we keep on going because it seems to be a feeding window at the moment.
The fishing slowed down after this double strike, but our hopes were high that we would get another contact. Our tactic of running some smaller lures deep and bigger lures up shallow seemed to work out. We went back to the area where we had the fish in the morning, and the conditions were just perfect. Overcast, some good wind. I could almost taste the next strike in the air. And this time, my gut feeling shouldn't let me down.
Yeah, I would say it's a better fish. It's way more power, way more weight just in general. That's the best way to describe it. But the W3 trolling is just the perfect rod for this. So much softness in the action, so the head shakes all get taken care of. And as you can see, I hold the rod quite deep so the fish doesn't shake its head on the surface. We will probably get tangled now. No, I think it's below actually. It feels like a better fish, to be honest. I don't think it's huge, but I do think it's the biggest one we had so far. There is the fish. I can't tell it quite yet. It's not huge, but it's a better fish. Nice. On the Tommy 30 you can see, yeah, it's not as big as I thought, but still a feisty one. And it's on the camera, I forgot about that. That's why it's so heavy. That's super cool. I will go. Nice! Haha! That's the best one so far. That could, whoa, whoa, whoa. Olli. There you see it, it's already off. Ah, that's a 90 all day. On the cam as well. There you go, man, yeah.
Perfect, perfect.
All right, guys, there we go. That's more of what we're talking about. That's a nice pike. Let's quickly measure him. It's a 94. Oh, there we go. So that's the first proper-ish pike. 94 beautiful centimeters. Look how thick he is. Such a beautiful specimen. We can already feel that today's a better day, and now it worked out. There we go. And now let's catch an even bigger one. All right, so I'm resetting my rod of success. The Tommy the Trout is going out again. But I wanted to quickly mention one thing that I really love for trolling. I already mentioned it, but it's our multicolor line. Because to be sure on which length I have between the lure and the planner board, I now go for one color. So this means that I'm fishing quite shallow. In this case, it's the white line. So it's about 10 meters of fluorocarbon and then 10 meters of braided line. So the lure is 20 meters behind the planner board. And with the Tommy the Trout Inline, this means that I'd say it runs about 2 meters deep with the added switch weight. So quite shallow, to be honest. And at the same point, with the deeper rods, it's even more important, because with the rod where I had the other fish on, I have 10 meters of fluorocarbon, then I attach my weight, and then I have 30 meters, so 3 colors of braided line until I attach my side planner. And by this I can vary, and as I said, I can reproduce what has worked before. So in this case today, 30 meters, maybe tomorrow it's only 20 meters, maybe only 10 meters. So it's easy to see and to be very precise. I'm quite sure it's not super important that you get it within 3, 4, 5 meters, but to be able to reproduce what worked before, it's super good to just be clear on what you're doing and be very sure that it's always the 20 meters behind the planner board. And for this reason, I really like our new W3 multicolor braid. It's just perfect for this kind of fishery.
After we had brought out the rods again, we took the time to check out the strike, but this time from a perspective that we hadn't seen yet.
Skibbity. Oh, there it was.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
back. Oh, the water is so perfectly clear. Oh no. Oh, you spoiled us.
Sorry.
Okay, it's gonna check out the strike. Look at how clear the water is. And we're fishing quite long leader, so it's perfectly visible. It's running so cool. Really excited to see. Should be there soon. We just skipped ahead. Oh. And there you can see the inline working perfectly. You can see how the pike is pulling the leader through the lure, so it can't act as a counterweight. It's perfect. And you see how shallow it was? Did you see how shallow the... I don't know if we were able to see it. We will pause the video here where you can see it. It once went up to the surface and you can see it was maybe 1.5, 2 meters deep, the lure. Crazy. Super cool footage. That's so awesome.
This pike was the last contact we had this day, but as I said, I was more than happy with it. Such well-fed and nice pike are the reason why we got trolling in our lakes. Nonetheless, we had one more day to go, and I would be lying if I would say that our expectations weren't through the roof. We got up super early to get that morning bite again, and, well, how should I put it? We were brought back to base level real quick and had to learn another lesson in, just when you think you have figured it out, everything changes. Although I didn't know what was wrong, the fish had completely turned off and we went off the water at 4 p.m. with exactly 0 contacts. The worst day of the whole project and not the end I had imagined. This meant that we had fallen short of catching one of these monsters. But who knows, maybe we were closer than we know. In the end, that's just a game when fishing these huge alpine lakes. The trophy fish are rare, smart and increasingly pressured. But still, we go out there. Because there's just something magical about fishing a water where every strike could be the fish of your lifetime. I'm sure we will return soon. And maybe, just maybe, we will be lucky and meet one of these open water unicorns.